with as busy as everything has been, and I'm sure you are just as busy. Happy Mother's Day to all of the amazing, amazing mothers out there that frankly just make all of this possible. Thank you, moms. Happy Sunday, wherever you're listening to this from. It's late in the day here. My little guy is with his mom, as he should be, on this beautiful, it's a sunny 70-degree Sunday afternoon here in New Jersey. And I thought that this would be a useful way to kind of give you an update on everything that's been going on, because the focus has obviously been on the guest spotlight episodes, and I try to keep those clutter-free. So I thought it would be helpful to provide you with a little quick update, kind of what's been going on, what's new around here. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of stuff going on inside of the Out-of-Home Insider universe. So consider this your State of the State. This is your May 14th State of the Union update. Over the past few weeks, we've had some incredible guests, some episodes I'd really encourage you to go back and listen to, depending on what you're looking for. Layne Cox, CMO of Union, really, I think maybe the first startup brand marketer to use out-of-home as a growth channel pre-2010. An incredible interview. Layne is such a fan of out-of-home, and that's an episode. If you want nuggets to take to your next client meeting, if you are looking for things to add to a pitch deck, if you're a brand yourself kind of wondering, maybe you're sitting on the fence of like, hey, is out-of-home right for us? That's an episode you absolutely have to go check out. I will link to everything that I mentioned here. I will link to in the show notes there. Layne Cox, CMO of Union. We went into the metaverse. I think the opportunity is right here, right now. Let me give you a story. A friend of mine, this is not in the out-of-home industry, but recently built out a website for a B2B services company. And he spent about $60,000. The first website was about $10,000, and it really didn't kind of meet the bar. So then they went and invested another $50,000. So about $60,000 into the website. And I had kind of stopped him before he wrote the check for the $50,000. I said, have you thought about building this thing in the metaverse? And he goes, what are you talking about? And we kind of talked about what that would look like. And we talked about it specifically because the price comparison, the $50,000 that my friend was about to invest in this website could have been invested in building a metaverse experience. What is a metaverse experience? Just imagine like a video game, but on your computer. So instead of going to a website, instead of going to Airbnb and then selecting Albany and dates June to July or whatever, and it starts popping up, imagine zooming into Albany, and now all of a sudden you're in Albany, and there's a tour guide, let's say a la Oregon Trail, that asks you what you would like to do in Albany, and they build a custom trip. And now, instead of time on site being measured in seconds or minutes, time on site becomes an experience. It's a 15-20 minute journey. At the OAAA Geopath conference, TripAdvisor talked specifically about this, about building a TripAdvisor overworld, about building a metaverse experience, being that travel is the most expensive investment that we make on a product that we're not able to try prior to purchase. So I think that the moment is here, really, really seriously, for media companies to be considering how to build out a metaverse experience. I think it's such a great way to showcase out-of-home in this immersive 3D experience that is much more like the real world than sending over a PDF with a picture that's 15 years old. So that's an episode to go back and listen to. That's Jason Shuster. He is one of the co-founders of BizTech. They are a metaverse as a services company. Really, really interesting stuff going on there. We had Benjamin Fishlock, the Concrete Canvas, talking all about hand-painted art. This is another one loaded with nuggets. If you like sound bites, this is an episode just absolutely full of them. So there's been a lot of great content, obviously, coming out of the conference, really that being the big kickoff into this year of 2023 push. But what's coming this week? Brian Rappaport, that's going to be this week's guest spotlight. Brian Rappaport, founder of Quam Media Group. That's going to come out this Thursday. We recorded it just last week, so it is super hot. I moved this one right to the front of the spring lineup, if you will, because it was such a timely conversation that I felt like the value needed to be unlocked instantly. So I generally feel that way about every episode, but this one was just kind of perfectly timed. Coming up, we have MK Gettler. MK is the CMO of Loop and Tie. They are a B2B gifting company. MK and I met when I was at OneScreen, and MK said some of the most profound things just as a marketer about out of home. And it was so invigorating. It was motivating. It was inspiring. MK is the type of person that when you really unpack concepts, you can get philosophical and tactical. And that's something that I love most about that. So we will have an episode coming up. So more of that CMO perspective coming your way. We've got Casey and Tommy coming from Hypercell and Movia, the big announcement, the big aqua hire there of Movia and Hypercell in the measurement game. That's going to be a really, really exciting conversation to get down on this Wednesday. We are recording it. I would imagine that's going to be one too that kind of comes out pretty quickly. So you could even see that one probably in May. I think that's one that we would push out before the end of the month. So that's an important conversation. That is a global impact conversation. It's both impression counting and attribution reporting. So if you've been following along with the measurement blog series, I had published a piece about the out-of-home exchange rates and the opportunity for there to be a Carfax of out-of-home. And I had written that without prior knowledge of the Movia Hypercell union that was taking place. So it's exciting to see that there's a company now with a very viable position to be able to make that a reality. So that's a conversation that we'll have coming out for you soon. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff. If you missed last week's guest spotlight episode, I really encourage you to go back and check that one out. That's Dennis Kelly. He's the CEO of a company called Postalytics. They are a direct mail performance automation platform. And it's a really, really cool conversation because Dennis, who is the definition of both a serial entrepreneur and a startup OG, he breaks down what it is to build a company like that in a pen and paper industry. So I think it's a very relevant conversation with as much talk as there is about automation, about how do we streamline these things, about how do we capture more of that share of wallet. So that's one I would encourage you to go back and check out. And I just don't know where you can get the type of experience and wisdom that Dennis has. I mean, his first technology startup was in the 80s. So when I say OG, I mean OG. That's definitely one to go back and check out. So there's going to be a bunch of links in the show notes. Pick from it what you will. If you want to just go straight to the source and find something new, it's theoohinsider.com. There you will find the blog that I mentioned. There you will find the podcast, of course. There you will also find links to Double O Hired. That is the job board powered by Out of Home Insider. That's part of this whole ecosystem platform that exists. So you can get to that right from theoohinsider.com. And there's a new addition to the nav bar at the top there. You'll see it says Daily Brief, or I think it might even say Insider Daily. You know what? Let's check right now. There it is, Insider Daily at the top of the navigation bar at theoohinsider.com. It says Insider Daily. You can go there to subscribe to a curated daily newsletter. Curated daily newsletter from yours truly. I don't know why I'm trying to make all these like hard little word combos, but I guess that's the, just overexertion. I just got back from like a 4-mile ruck march. I don't know if you know what that is. It's where you put a bunch of weight on your body and then you just go walk around until you get really, really tired. So I might not be making sense. I see that I'm over the 10-minute mark. That's probably where I should draw the line on this. So there's a lot of new stuff going on. Curated daily newsletter. It's the Insider Daily Brief. That is it's a daily newsletter. It's everything that I'm reading. It's podcasts that I'm listening to. There are, just a ton of different stuff in there. Links to stuff on social. If you are maybe subscribed to some other newsletters and you're looking to round out your mix, I think that this will probably be a really strong complement to that. I'm very confident in that because, I've got a bit of an eclectic mix. So I hope that you enjoy it. I see a lot of folks getting value out of there. In fact, let me bring you up some analytics on the newsletter here. Let's see. Because last week, it's cool to see it grow each day in terms of subscribers. We're sitting at an average open rate of 52.5% and an average click-through rate of 21.5%. Each newsletter has about 10 to 12 articles. So figure that, most folks are finding, 2 to 3 of those helpful each day or interesting. And there's a range of stuff in here. It's from things that I think are cool. Literally, there is a section called cool stuff. We've got a tech section, data, programmatic, measurement, legal, markets, research. There is just really anything that I find during the course of the day that sits open in a tab at the top of my browser. I'm just dumping it all into a spreadsheet and then going through and kind of hand picking the stuff that I think would be most interesting for you. So you can get right to that. You can skip the website. You can go to oohinsiderdaily.com and get right to the subscription link that way. That's also the link if you want to just give it out and kind of share it around with somebody else. It's oohinsiderdaily.com. I'll link to it in the actually, it's already linked in the show notes. It's in the footer of every podcast that has existed. So let's see, though. Let's look at, I wanted to show you, or just, I suppose, share with you some analytics from last week. It was cool to see the week closed with, check this out. So Thursday of last week was the highest open rate so far every day, right? So I'm using a new domain, so building up like the domain authority and credibility there so that we don't end up in spam boxes. So thank you to everyone who's been clicking and opening that to help with the cause. But last Thursday we did 69.05% open rate. Pretty awesome. And followed that up on Friday with a 67%. And then, that click-through rate is just hovering right around that 20% mark. It's been as high as 37% and as low as 14.29. So some pretty cool stuff going on over there. A few folks have reached out about sponsoring the newsletter. So you might see some cool new companies that are going to see themselves featured. Just really, really simply, just please know this. I've done this obviously for almost 4 years with very, very sparse sponsorship or anything like that. So please know, anytime that I engage with anybody, it's going to be only in a way that adds value for you. So if you want to get subscribed to that, it's oohinsiderdaily.com. That's everything that's going on right now. It's May 14th. I've got more stuff cooking in the background. Got some partnerships, Ken, words. It's Sunday, 4-mile ruck. I got to get this thing done and shipped. Hang with me. We're almost there. I've got even more news coming later this month, beginning of next month, partnership stuff, and one really, really big announcement. And that's something that I'm most excited to share with you because it's really, really a direct reflection of specifically the purpose and intent of this podcast, but ultimately the value creation that this community that you specifically have created. So I'm really excited to help bring that into reality later this month, beginning of next month. So stay tuned. If you are not subscribed, I don't know how you'd be hearing this on a Sunday evening if you weren't subscribed. But if for some rare chance you're not subscribed, make sure to get subscribed. Something that you could do that would be super, super helpful for me would be to take the time to just leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. It could just be clicking that 5 stars. If you want to add a few kind words, that would be extra appreciated. So happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. Thanks so much for hanging out and listen to this raw, unedited, off the cuff edition of State of the Union. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum. Ba-da-ba-da-bum.